Hello, my name is Alicia Shapiro with AiNews.com, and welcome to another episode of our Driving Tomorrow Conversations with Industry Leaders, where we explore the latest developments and newest innovations in the world of artificial intelligence. Today, we have the privilege of talking to Ana Santhosh, the founder and CEO of Kraft AI, a company leading the way of how businesses integrate and leverage AI. Anna brings to the table nearly a decade of experience in data science, AI, product management, and corporate consulting. With a passion for demystifying AI for leaders and organizations, she's pioneered a unique hands on approach to AI adoption, empowering decision makers to harness technology for real world impact and innovation. Kraft AI stands out in the dynamic competitive landscape of AI consulting by offering personalized strategic guidance through a distinctive 6-week program. This program is designed to take leaders on a comprehensive journey from education on AI trends to the strategic adoption and hands on development of AI technologies, ensuring that businesses not only understand AI's potential, but are also fully equipped to implement it. Thank you for joining us today, Anna.
Thank you for having me, Alicia.
Yeah. And with your extensive background in data science, AI, and leadership, what inspired you to start Craft AI, and how does your personal journey influence the company's mission and approach to AI adoption?
Sure. So I have been in the AI space for nearly 10 years now. Before it
Mhm.
became cool, it was just
Right.
statistics, mathematics, architecture. So it's really that experience, like the amount of time I have spent doing this. I've seen like the full cycle of it.
Hmm.
And uh, with the projects I have done, I see what works well for a successful project. And because I've been part of failed projects as well, I know like what differentiates a successful project from a failed one. And with the advent of large language models, we kind of like burst this bubble, and now like everyone is part of the AI sphere.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure that I leverage the experience I have to like help people adopt this quickly to their advantage. So that's really the personal mission behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people, because it's so new, they're feeling out of their comfort zone.
Right.
And adopting something new when you're feeling overwhelmed uh, is not uh, guaranteeing your success. So, which is why
Exactly.
I have developed Craft AI's mission and vision to make sure that leaders have the right guidance and support when it comes to this technology.
That's great. That's so important because I know that, businesses, they just know that they have to do it. They have to use AI, but they don't know how or what processes to put in place. So that's great that you have this program. Hmm. And you've made significant strides in demystifying the AI for different businesses and organizations. Do you have a success story that you could share that helped an AI skeptic become a strong advocate for AI integration into their business?
Sure. The first story that comes to my mind is when I worked with uh, a small business, but they
Mm.
make millions in sales from home appliance
Nice.
products. So the way they approached me was asking, "Hey, I have all these like millions of products that I'm selling on a daily basis, and somebody told me about something like machine learning and AI.
Mm.
Do you think like I can use it?" It was
Oh,
coming
cool.
from a place of skepticism, but also coupled with a sense of innate curiosity.
Right.
And that was what differentiated them
Mm.
personally for me, and
Hmm.
what set them up for success, because there was a sense of curiosity around the technology and not like complete overwhelm and fear, but
Yeah.
it was mired with skepticism because it's completely out of their domain and like way of doing things. So I
Hmm.
worked with them for about like 4 weeks from where we had started, where it was like, what is this thing I've been hearing about?
Mhm.
Is it gonna be like blockchain or like, you know,
Right.
NFTs? And I'm like, let's work together. Let's like start making like small changes. Let me like tell you how it works.
Mm,
Let's see like how you can see a real world impact with this technology. So it was really about getting them to see the value and actually
mhm,
providing them the value first,
mm,
and then kind of like getting them comfortable with what happens behind the scenes and like getting them equipped to make further decisions on how they can leverage the technology.
right.
So at the end,
That's a
we work,
smart approach.
it's also making them confident that if
Mhm,
they invest in it, they will see the returns.
mhm,
So for a home appliance company, it's completely out of their domain.
mhm,
And
mhm.
what they have seen building this business up like for 20, 30 years, to make like a big shift like that, they really need to see the value. So
That
that's
is a
what
big
we
shift.
did together. And once they saw the value, they were like, okay, let me give this a try.
Mhm. That's
And by the
great.
end of it, they were like, we want to like take it to like every division we have, including
Wow.
finance, operations, HR, but with a sense of like confidence,
Mhm.
not from a place of, oh, I have to adopt it now or else.
Yeah. You'll be left behind, yeah. Well, that's great. That's awesome. And to make them feel comfortable before, you just dump all the AI stuff onto them. That's a good approach. I like that. And speaking of that, you have your 6-week hands-on program, and that's kind of unique so far in the industry because nobody has a program to implement it this way. Could you take us through how this program was developed and what makes it so effective in empowering leaders to integrate AI into their strategies?
Sure. So I've been talking about like deep learning, neural networks for like a long time, and like
Mhm,
everyone in my sphere kind of knows what I do. And that's
mhm,
how like I started consulting. When
mm,
ChatGPT came out, everyone was like reaching out to me, hey, you do AI. What is
mm.
this thing? What is this thing I'm seeing? Like, is it magic? Does it have consciousness?
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was a fun journey to take
Yeah.
people from there to making them see how a language model generates text or video or audio. So I've been doing that since ChatGPT came out, or even
Mhm,
before that. In my professional role, I was working on AI SaaS products or leading data science and AI teams to like deliver corporate value. So strategic consulting on the side was really demystifying AI for
mhm,
people outside of the AI domain and getting them equipped to use AI for productivity gains. And I've worked with a lot of people in a lot of different domains, but the crux of what makes a big shift in people, I've been like focusing a lot on developing those ideas into a very structured program. So it's easier for me when people
mhm,
come to me to like deliver those results as well. And that's what right now is my 6-week program.
mhm,
It's a mix of hands-on experience that's really tied to the goal of the business or the goal of the individual, putting them first and center
mm,
rather than the technology itself. So it's
mhm,
really customized to their way of business, their ideas, who their customer is, and seeing if AI can either augment some of their processes or automate some of their processes. It's the I would say the differentiation is also that it's really
mhm.
customized, putting the business goals and the customer goals up and front and center.
That's great. Yeah. And I imagine it could be used pretty much for any industry, right? That businesses are in. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. And speaking of the consulting landscape, changes a lot and it's pretty competitive. Could you share with us what sets, well, we kind of already said that about your customization, but how Craft AI differs from other firms in the space, especially in terms of empowering leaders and nations, which you kind of already answered. But how do you ensure that the AI strategies remain flexible and adaptable in the fast evolving AI landscape?
Yeah, I think one thing I would add to the differentiation part is that I am very neutral when it comes to products, platforms, and
Mm,
technologies that use AI specifically. So, very product agnostic, platform
mm,
agnostic. And I think that's a way to get people comfortable around the technology, but not tie them to anything specific and get
mhm.
them um, tied to that as well, because products and services might go out of business, but what will
Right.
stay is the technology.
Hmm.
And what I really focus is on a concept called continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring. So that as and when you see you need to pivot, you can like pivot to a different language model or pivot to a different platform, but continuously monitoring the input and the outputs that you generate through AI. Because one thing that's really critical for the success of AI projects is LLM security.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets a little bit trickier than typical cybersecurity issues, specifically because of language. So now you can bypass a lot of security measures in place by using
Oh, wow.
language. So I focus a lot on security, uh, which what I've seen from my experience is very critical to business success.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's fantastic. And looking forward, what do you see as the next big trend in AI for businesses? How is Craft AI preparing to guide and support the organizations in the future?
Definitely. I think personally, what I am very excited about, as well as skeptical about, is agentive technology. I
Okay.
think it's gonna be really shifting the way we um, operate with a lot of our devices.
Mm,
Um, but also, it brings up a lot of questions about agency, the kind of agency, excessive agency we typically are giving to LLMs these days. I see that with a lot of businesses. And also, the other part is overly relying on AI technology without putting in like a lot of thought and taking accountability of some of the actions that AI might take in lieu of you. So agentive technology is going to be great for our productivity, both as people and as business, but it could have a lot of ramifications if proper thought around security and responsible AI is not put into it while businesses start adopting it, or even like when people start adopting it.
mm,
So at Craft AI, we are preparing for that future, what that would look like, making sure that the foundation is right, making sure that we have the guardrails in place so that we can utilize the full capability of an agentive technology future, while making sure that the risks associated with LLMs in general, like misinformation, harmful information, harmful content, and privacy issues are minimized.
mhm. Well, and like you mentioned before, you're positioning your customers for success by, like you said, getting the foundation and guardrails in place. So even if ChatGPT went out of business, they could pivot to another company that they could use. So that's so important. And having that foundation in place, I imagine, would also make the business owners feel more at ease about using AI in their
Yeah.
business.
Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. That ties back to the idea of CI/CD, continuous
Hmm.
integration and continuous deployment. Like the feedback loop has to be shorter. The way in which you're prototyping and like bringing products to in front of your customers. If you can shorten that, that would really up the value of the service or product that you're providing. And I want to equip leaders to do that, like shorten the time, making sure that the all the risk that comes with shortening any of your processes is taken care of.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Before we conclude today, I'd like to shift a little bit from our discussion about integrating AI into businesses to a couple more personal questions to get to know you better. When you're not leading Craft AI, what are some activities or hobbies that you're passionate about?
I think like I'm very much an engineer at heart. I love
Mhm.
tinkering with things. I love um, fixing broken things.
Yeah.
So you would see me a lot like tinkering with electronics or like uh, woodwork is something I
Mm.
really enjoy. But I also love the human interaction.
Mhm.
Uh, so I make it a point to spend time with friends and family and community. So my
That's
community is like where I live, people around me.
mhm.
So I do yoga sessions, I take dance classes.
Oh, fun.
Uh, I make sure that I am at the block parties
Yeah.
in my
Mhm.
neighborhood now that like summer is right around the corner. Uh, but something that I make sure I get time every week is time I spend with my dog and my husband. So
Oh,
we make
mhm.
sure we go on walks every single day. And the other
Nice.
thing is dance and music.
Mhm.
So I am classically trained in dance
Oh,
and music, so I'm continuing that practice.
wow. That's really cool. I was classically trained in flute performance, but
Cool.
I gave that up because I didn't want to practice my flute for 8 hours a day for chance of one or two spots in an orchestra. But I still play my flute. It's fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
I was not I I thought I had given up on dancing and
Hmm.
music, but then like recent years I've found out that it's still a very integral part of me.
Hmm.
So I made time and effort to like go pursue it, even though I
That's
know
good.
like I'm not going to be doing it professionally, but it still gives me a lot of joy just doing
Yes.
it even an hour or two a week.
Yeah, that's great. And with your wealth of experience and the successes that you've achieved, what piece of advice would you give to those who are wanting to leave a mark in the world of AI technology and innovation?
If I were to summarize it in a few points, it would really be uh, to put your customers first.
Mm.
There's like two approaches I see. One is like technology first, and the other
Mhm.
is user first. I think Steve Jobs came up with this.
Mm.
And uh, right now we are in a cycle where we're seeing technology upfront,
Mhm.
and the a lot of the ramifications of putting that up front is harm to humans in many
Mm.
different ways. That is what would like make um, the trough of disillusionment kind of like stronger.
Mhm.
So more and more people, if we put or go with the user first approach,
Mhm.
it would actually be more productive use of the technology as well.
Hmm.
I think one of the reasons I think many great technologies came and went is because we put a lot of emphasis on the technology and not the
Mhm.
customers. So I'm seeing that a lot with a lot of startups these days as well. They're doing a lot of cool, shiny things, but based on my personal experience and like studying startups and entrepreneurship for some time, what I'm predicting is that the companies that would put their users and customers front is gonna ride this wave better.
Mhm. Mhm. That's so true because even in social media or, other areas, I get people asking me, "Well, what do I post on my social media?" And it's like what do you think your customers want to know? I always tell people to put themselves in their customers' shoes and ask, be curious and be wondering how they want to look at the product or service. And that's so true. I think that's great advice. Yeah. Well, thank you, Anna, for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. Your contributions at Craft AI are not just paving the way in the realm of artificial intelligence and business innovation, they're also inspiring a new generation of entrepreneurs and leaders to explore, innovate, and excel. So, thank you so much for your participation today.
Glad for having me here, Alicia. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, yes. And if you want to know more about Anna's 6-week business integration program, visit their website at craftai.org. And to our audience, thank you again for joining us. We look forward to bringing you more conversations of AI's impact in our world. Keeping you connected to tomorrow. Today, this is Alicia with AiNews.com.